You don't want to know. Like, you don't want to. It was, but that move happened around winter. So you
Wow.
can imagine moving from extreme heat to an extreme cold environment. It was tough, really.
Hi! So 60% of those who visit this channel are not subscribed. Ah! Are you one of them? Come on. Anyways, I know you forgot, right? So now I'm here to remind you to hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications so you don't have to miss any of our episodes, all right? Now, let us dive into today's episode and I'll see you on the other side.
My name is Desire Oparanozie. Uh, Owerri, Imo State, Owerri precisely. I'm a pro athlete. I'm a professional soccer player. I play for Nigerian national team, the Super Falcons, and Wuhan Women Football Club in China. Well, nothing too complicated. I've always been a strong believer of no pressure, living life at your own term, like one day at a time. Yeah, but like these days with the presence of social media and all of that, people tend to show you in quote, what's and the sunny side of their life. People don't really understand what's going on in the background. They don't know the struggles we go through, and they make us to believe that people's life are perfect and all of that. But in the real sense of it, it's none of that. So don't let anybody put pressure on you by what you see on social media and all of that. Just live according to your own terms, do your best, and just take it one day at a time. No pressure. Uh, One fun thing. I'm a boring ass. I'm a boring ass individual. I know. Uh, I think I'm quite funny when I want to be. I tend to go my way around some close friends, crack them up in a very funny way. It's a part of me that a lot of people don't get to see except you're really, close. Yeah, so yeah, sometimes I get goofy and crazy around some close friends. Yeah.
No matter how dark the night is, the sun always rises. No matter how hard life gets, keep moving forward. You never know what amazing things are waiting just around the corner. No story is too rough and no journey is too tough. Join us on Stretch Street to be inspired by the stories of people who have been through it all and come out stronger. Stretch Street Podcast. Stretching without snapping.
Yes, hello, and welcome to yet another episode on Stretch Street Podcast. Of course, this is the energetic EJ, and I'm excited. You can guess why, right? You can guess why I'm excited. Today on the show, I have this superstar. Hey, okay, I have a superstar on the show today who goes by the name Ugochi Desire Oparanozie, who is a Nigerian footballer who plays as a forward in the Chinese Women's Super League for Wuhan Jianghan University and the Nigerian national team. Oh yes, and she's connecting all the way from China today, and I'm super excited to hear some of her stretch stories, right? And you could tell, right, from her philosophy of life, like no pressure. Stop trying to oppress other people with your lifestyle, portraying out there like everything is perfect when it is not, right? So she's like, okay, I'm chill, no pressures at all. So we want to find out actually what are the pressures behind the scenes? What are some of the challenges that she has seen, that she has experienced on her journey as a female athlete? And I mean, if you know her, you can go check her out anywhere. You would know that she's one of the top, from even as a Nigerian captain at some point, and now she's doing amazingly well in her current club, right? So you just want to sit back, relax, and get into this conversation. Come and hear the behind the scenes stories. Like, what are some of the struggles? What are some of the stretch stories that she has for us? And you already know the end goal of this conversation is to make you, is to inspire you, is to let you know that yes, pressure, stress, challenges are, are not exclusive to any of us. We all go through them. And this is to also encourage you that no matter the stress you're going through, no matter the challenges you're going through, no matter what your stretch story is, you can still come out better, and you can use that same stretch story to inspire other people. And that is why I am here on this show. So if you have such stretch story, do let me know. But for today, let us sit back, relax as we get into the conversation with Desire Oparanozie.
Stretch Street Podcast.
Hello.
Hi. Welcome back.
How are you today?
I'm very well. I'm well, thank you.
Awesome.
Well,
Thank you
how are
so
you?
much for availing your time to be here. I know you're a super busy person. And so thank you for saying yes. Yes. So
It's
let
my
us get
pleasure,
into
really.
the conversation, right? I love the fact that you are fun once in a while. So, hey, initially when I asked, like, oh, whatever, I was like, oh, no, my life is boring. No, I don't think so. Your life is boring. So, we know a little bit about you that you can be fun when you want to be fun, but would like to get into your story. I know, for example, that you started your career quite early, and the interesting part for me is you had to leave home quite early as well, right? You had to leave Nigeria quite early to a different place in the world. I mean, that was a sharp contrast from Africa straight to Russia, where the code is like
You don't want to know. Like, you don't want to. It was. I don't know. That was the very first time I left Nigeria. Like far away Russia, and from West Africa. You know how hot it is in Africa, all the way to. And it was around winter. That move happened around winter, so you
wow.
can imagine moving from extreme heat to an extreme cold environment. It was tough, really it was tough. It was difficult. At some point I wanted to come home. Like after a few weeks, I wanted to come home. But then again, I looked back at where I was coming from. I'm like, this at some point this was your prayer point and now it's here.
Now
You
God
wanna,
has answered.
throw it yeah. I'm like, this is how you're gonna be fine. you know. You're
And
gonna be
absolutely,
fine. Well, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So
Years down the line, we can see you're fine. Now you're used to the code, eh?
I swear that. Well, do we really get used to code? Code? No. You never get used to code.
Hmm. I mean,
And it's usually. I mean, it's not the same for an office worker. They will tell you. I mean, they love winter and all of that because they go from home to their cars all the way to the office and all of that. It's not the same for us that what we do is outside.
in the field.
So sometimes when we complain about winter, they be like, "No, winter is my favorite time of the season of the year." I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about,
Exactly. Because
stuff
you're in
like
a
that.
regulated place, you can regulate the heat in your car.
Exactly.
If you get to the office,
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
I can only
Exactly. But
imagine.
for us, oh my goodness, you don't
I
want to
can
know.
only imagine.
You don't want to
I
know.
can only imagine. So let me start by asking this question. Okay, let me give you the floor to just kind of summarize some of your really, really stretch period, right? I know this one we talked about was one of like the shock you experienced with the weather, like, oh my God, how am I going to survive this?
Mm.
And years down the line, you're surviving quite all right. But what are some of these stories that when you look back at and say, gosh, at this point, I felt it was over. Like, okay, I can't take this anymore. I'm not doing it again. What are those stretch stories? Let us hear you.
I've had quite some of those experiences, like a number of them. But start with the early stages where, you know, you know how it is coming from a typical African home where they don't believe that sports is it's for female, it's for a girl child, you know. They don't believe in that cock and bull story. And you know, back in the days, I would go out to play, running on the streets without shoes, with even without top. Like sometimes I will only short knicker or skirts, or sometimes gowns. You know, running around the street with boys and playing, and then sometimes when I would while at it, I will see either my mom or my dad coming back home. I will just, you know, I will run off, you know, because I know what comes after that. And each time I go out on the street to play, I would ignore all the chores at home because I mean I'm the last girl in the family, so there are plenty of chores to be done, like dishes, helping mom out in the kitchen, and all of that. So I won't be at home to help with all of those chores. And when I eventually get back, you know, they will whip me, punish me, flog me, and all of that. But tomorrow you'll still find me going back to do those things that I was warned against, you know. So it was those were quite but then the funny thing is then it was all fun for me. I wasn't doing it. I hadn't seen the bigger picture then. I didn't know what could come out of this, but it was just a passion. I mean, there are other sports there I could have done. There are other things I could have done, but this one really, it was something that I soaked myself into. You know, it's aligned with who I am at that particular point in time, and it was fun. So I kept, you know, doing it, and then everyone was against it, but I kept pushing. And then at some point, I think at some point, my dad, like I said, in an African home, what the father says becomes the final as the head of the
Mm,
family. So
mm.
at some point, I think I was lucky enough. My dad, maybe he saw the future, or I don't know what it was with him, but he was like, we've been chasing this girl all around, and she kept doing the same thing over and over again. Maybe we should, you know, throw our weight behind her and support her and see what
How
comes
it
out. So, you
goes.
know, yeah, yeah. So the moment my father threw his support behind me, my mom was still very skeptical, you know, mothers now and all of that. Well, but the fact that my father supported me, she didn't really have much of a say because, I mean, what the dad says is final. So that was how everyone now, my siblings, every other person now they were not as strict as they were earlier. They started pedaling down a little bit. And yeah, so from there, I started playing for school team, secondary school team, and I got enrolled in an amateur football club. So it just picked up from there,
There.
you know.
And it's funny how I read somewhere that you have a sister that plays football too. Is this correct?
Yeah, yeah. My
So was
other
this your elder
then,
sister? Yes, because you're the last born, right?
yeah,
How come?
yeah.
Like, when did she start
No.
playing?
I'm the last girl actually, but second to the last. I have there's a boy after me, but my other sister who were together on the streets, you know, during those early days we were together on the street. She played better than me then, you know, but because of the pressure and everything, she had to stop. She stopped, but I kept, you know, strong head now.
Oh wow. I can imagine. I can imagine mom sees
Yeah.
stress at that point, like, my
Yeah.
two girls, my girls, what is going on?
Yeah. So
Oh wow.
yeah, she gave into the pressure that, yeah, but then
But she got back afterwards when you opened the door, when you stayed your foot, like, okay, I don't have any other thing I want to do, right?
yeah, but no, she didn't. It was
Oh, okay.
just me.
Okay. Fantastic. All right. So let me come back to you and ask, because being, after all that, facing all that as a child in the house, and then okay, they finally accept you. Maybe the family did, but I'm sure that there are people maybe around that still look at, this kind ball where you want to go play, so you want to turn to man. What are some of your
Exactly. I mean,
experiences around that?
yeah,
Looking at
exactly.
people
That,
coming to say, you want look at you, you want to build
yeah.
muscle. You don't want to marry when you grow up. How did
Yeah,
you navigate
it's
all of
still
those
there.
feelings?
It was there then. It was there then, and it's still there now. Even at some point those days, the neighbors, people on the street, our friends and family members, they had a name for me then. They were calling me Ndanwoke. I mean, my dialect, like Nda, we it's like a title. It's like a title before you call someone's name, like
Yeah,
Nda,
like
to show
auntie
some
or
sort of
something.
respect. Yeah.
Mm.
So they call me Ndanwoke. Woke means it's a guy. So they said I'm
So
more
it's more
looking,
like uncle boy.
oh yeah. Exactly. Stuff like that. Some of them still calls me that. So like I was saying that's the height of insensitivity from people ignoring the fact that, I mean, ignoring the level of work we put in every day to stay top and perform at the highest level and all of that. So I think people need to be better, you know, and try and respect people's hustles and try and be more sensitive.
Awesome, awesome. So let me quickly ask you this. Like, I know you're somebody who stands for what you believe in, and you're outspoken when it comes to your craft. Like, you want everybody to benefit from whatever it thinks you think is right. And you stood up for your team at some point, but that kind of got you into trouble. So my question is, do you regret speaking out for what you believe was right? Or are you like, no, it doesn't matter whatever it is I faced, right? I would always stand for what I believe is right. Like, what was what are some of your thoughts through that process of you standing up for your team and just being kicked out for that?
Well, no regret whatsoever, really. If I find myself in a position of power tomorrow, and if I have to do it again, I will. I'll definitely, do it again. They said, they said, I don't know, maybe I can't put it word for word, but there's this quote that says, why the evil triumph or something like that is for good people to do nothing, stuff like that. So,
Mhm.
so I don't have any regret. I got punished for it, but then that also has its goodwill. It also has its own uh, positivity. There's something positive out of it that came out of it.
Mm.
So I think no matter what we face in life, whatever situation we find ourselves in, but if we search deep down, there is something good that comes out at the end of the day. So it's um it's all good, really. It's all good. It's something I don't regret. I don't regret. I'm glad I stood for what is right, and I knew for a few people that appreciated what I did, even some of them were not even part of the team at that time, but they benefited from it. So
Mm.
I got to talk with a few of them, and I I mean the joy that they got from what I did was more than enough satisfaction for me. It was so soothing. It was a relief. So that's one lesson I've learned, that no matter how how bad people don't want things to get better, just keep doing your part, keep pushing for the right reasons, for what it's worth. Trust me, even if it's one soul that you lifted, it's more than enough.
Absolutely. It
You know?
makes a difference. So everything you do makes a difference,
Yeah,
regardless of if a lot of people say yes to it or just one person is changed
yeah,
for it. Absolutely
exactly.
fantastic. Hmm. So I mean, at some point you mentioned the network just misbehaved at that point. Was saying that this particular thing led you into looking into the future and looking differently at the future because it was a wake up call for you, like, so what would now happen after all this paparazzi now? What happens if I get kicked out of a team for no reason? What am I going to do?
Yeah.
What are some of these things, if you're comfortable with sharing, that just give you perception that you started to make those decisions that would help you after your career as an athlete?
Okay. I had a couple of thoughts and directions I should go, but this one I'll point out to us is like, okay, I thought about it and I'm like, okay, where I came from, Nigeria, Africa, this has been a norm, you know, and how do we effect change in the long run? Like now, there are there are I mean there is a strong caucus working behind the scenes. These people, they are not the poster person. They are, stronger caucus working behind the scenes, and when there is a problem, you don't get to hear their names. There is always a poster person where everybody points finger, accusing finger, but that person is not actually the decision maker in the organization. So, and this situation had it made me realize that we as principal actors, as the players, we since I mean we can't, with this current crop of players, we're not strong minded enough to fight this battle as a team. And there's hardly anything anyone can do now to effect the necessary changes that our industry needs. So, one of the decisions I made was to get a degree in business and sport management, and that was what engineer. I'm on my second year now as we speak. So, at the end of 4 years, I'll get a BSc for that. Maybe, I don't know, but maybe in a couple of years to come, if I don't know, but it's doable. Like it is very, very doable. Effecting change from, since we can't do it from the bottom, maybe something can be done from the top. So it's a start. Like, as we've been, crying about the government over the years, like the Nigerian government in quotes, and how our forefathers don't want to,
Leave the
don't want
throne.
to leave the throne for, yeah. So for the younger ones, I think, the best thing is for the younger ones to get involved, not just sitting behind our keyboards and typing every day and shouting, they should leave. It's not enough. We need to, you know, start moving muscles, start acting, more action, less talking. So that was one of the things that triggered me um, getting a degree on business and sport management. So maybe we'll see what the future holds, and possibly the change will desire will come. I'm not a saint, but it's doable, it's possible, and we have to learn to stop being at the mercy of people and take initiatives and act on the required change that we need.
Wow, that is so fantastic. I love it. That's such a beautiful lesson to take from this whole story, that see, if you want a change so much and you want to change so bad, you start by being the change. And being the change is not just about talking about it. Be strategic about your change. take action, I love the perspective you brought to this. Like, it's just
Yeah.
mind blowing. Like, see, there are powers that be. How can I be part of that powers that be so that I can really affect the change?
Yeah.
And that's so powerful. And I wish you all the very best. I mean, when I read about that,
Thank you.
I'm glad that this was the one thing you shared
Mhm.
about the decisions that,
Yeah.
you made after that incident. I'm like, okay, because I was going to ask, like, woo,
Mhm.
what does it feel like being back in school and just doing? And I love the idea behind you going for that degree. So I wish you all the very best in that. As we round off the
Yeah.
session, thank you so much one more time for availing yourself to be here from your busy schedule. I appreciate it. Now, I just wanted to say something to my audience. And I know that you're very particular about education, by the way, and you have a foundation that is taking care of that for young girls. And I love that you're not, keeping it or restricting it to just football or sport. You're like, see,
Mhm.
any girl child have the right or
Yeah.
has the right to dream big and to be successful at it. And that's what your foundation stands for, to help these young ladies
Mhm.
start to make the right decisions, so to guide them in making the right
Mhm.
career choice and all of that. But I want you to
Mhm.
round off by giving a word to young girls, first of all, and the rest of the world, because the young girls are not in isolation. They have people around them. They
Yeah.
have parents or
Yeah.
guardians or friends, right? But what would your message be for the young girls and those who are around them?
Oh, my message will, I mean, it will always be the same thing, like focus. Focus. First of all, identify what it is you want to do. Don't be everywhere. Don't be everywhere. Focus in business. There's something they say about um like putting all your resources in one project and making sure you execute it is more effective than doing 3 or 4 projects at the same time, and you know you hardly have all the resources, all the ideas to execute all 4 of them at the same time and all of that. So just pick one thing you're sure this is what drives you, this is what you're excited doing. Make sure it excites you, because loving what we do is an added advantage. You don't struggle to do it, you just find your flair, doing it. And once you identify that, then invest in it with your time, energy on it, and make sure you get better at it, be the best at it, and be consistent, stay motivated, don't get distracted, because there will be there will be lots of discouragements coming from everywhere. You might have um fund problem, you might have support problem, but just keep pushing. Your breakthrough will come. Stay consistent, stay determined, and believe in your craft. Trust me, consistency, determination, and hard work. It, it goes a long way. It won't be. It's not gonna come overnight. It's not going to come overnight. There will always be roller coaster trials and tribulations, but just ignore the noise and focus on what you want to achieve.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. You've heard it. And I know this message is not just for young girls alone. Even you, young man, watching me right now, and mommies and daddies, it's not too late for you as well. If you've spread yourself too thin, doing everything and not getting one cogent result, I think it's about time that you zone in on one thing. I mean, we've heard it a lot. Niche down, niche down. At first, it's difficult, right? Because you're like, I don't know which one is going to work. So let me do everything, anyone that works. But it is actually counterproductive when you go everywhere at the same time. That's the thing. We're not saying you cannot do everything. You can achieve everything if you take them one after the other. Maybe focus on them in times and seasons, and you're going to. But when you're focusing on one thing, do that one thing and get best at it, and you get the result that you seek. So focus, determination, hard work, and success is surely going to be a part of your story. Thank you so much for being a part of our show today. Thank you so much, Desire, for being here. I really appreciate it. One more time, guys. Of course, you know. In fact, if you don't know, I don't know. If you don't know, I don't know what to tell to you. But in case you don't know, maybe you're watching this outside of Nigeria and you're not a football fan and you do not know Desire. Now you do know her. Please, I'm going to include the link to our Instagram page in this description of this podcast. So please go ahead and follow her and follow the work that she does as one of our star players. Okay? All right. Thank you so much, Desire, for being here one more time. Guys, this is it. Until I come your way again next week with yet another episode on Stretch Street Podcast. Remember, if you've not yet subscribed to this channel, what are you waiting for? And if you're not yet a part of the Stretch Street Stars, I don't know. Goodies are coming. Oh, I'm just putting the goodies together. Better join now before it is too late. It will never be too late anyways. But you can be a part of the Stretch Street Stars. We are a community building because we really want to gain knowledge from all of these, stars that are ahead of us, that have gone ahead of us in life, maybe not necessarily older than us, but they've experienced life than us and would love to learn from them. So I'm building a community so that we're able to really juice some things out of these people. God willing, they're going to give us that audience. So you don't want to miss out. So be a part of the Stretch Street Stars. The link is going to be attached to this particular episode. Let's do this together, guys. All right. Like, come away again next week. This is the energetic EJ, and this is bye-bye.
Hey, thank you for watching today's episode. I really do hope that you found it valuable. All right. If you did, please visit us again next week when we will put out another episode. In case you forgot at the beginning or at the middle, now is a good time to click on the subscribe button, turn on notifications so that you don't get to miss any of our episodes. All right. Till we come your way again next week, remember also to read the description of this video for any links that might be there that would help you or also help you support the work that we do here. All right. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.